The year is 2017 and Sonic Mania was a massive hit. Sonic Mania was the most well-received game since Sonic Generations, or if you're a blind Nintendo fan, since the 90s. However, when Sonic Forces was released, it was met with disappointment and hate from the community. However, the majority of the fans and the critics' final verdict on the game was that it was very much just average. There was nothing too terrible about the game and there's nothing too great about the game, and that is exactly why I am here today to tell you that your opinion is in fact wrong. Of course, I'm just joking. If you like this game, cool. If you think the game is average, nothing more, nothing less, good. I'm just here to explain my opinion, so sit down and listen to some of my criticisms that I have of the game. You don't have to agree, I just want to share my thoughts. I might make you an open-minded person, you never know. With that all being said, let's start with the When it comes to this game, everyone knows what's wrong with the story, so I won't spend much time on it. If you want to see the story get bashed, search up Sonic Forces review on YouTube. However, I want to bring up two very important criticisms of how the story is structured in this game. The first criticism I have is that the tone of this game is pretty bad. As you know, after Sonic Lost World failed horribly at making a serious story, Sonic Team thought it was a great idea to fire the writers and hire someone more capable of making a story for the Sonic game. This was a very respected move by Sega, and everyone was in support of this decision. In fact, I love the new writers so much, they have really made a good mark on the video gaming industry with its immersive and unforgettable storytelling experience. Whoa, are you okay there? It looks like you hit your head or something. Anyways, I gotta get back to what I was saying. Even after Sonic Lost World's writers failed horribly at telling a serious story, Sega still decided to keep the same writers, and one thing that these writers absolutely suck at is keeping one consistent tone with the story. Something you will notice in Sonic Forces is the annoying, cowardly behavior from the writers. The writers will throw an idea into the story and then back down when it's time to execute. Here are two examples of when this happens. In the beginning of the game, Sonic gets beaten pretty badly by the main villains of the game. It is believed by everyone that Sonic has died, the world is losing hope. That is when the line is dropped that Tails has lost it since Sonic's death. Now this is an interesting plotline for Tails to follow. Tails could have been on his own searching for Sonic, not stopping until he has an answer of what Sonic's fate was. Does this actually happen? No, not even close. Tails is still cowering and is still the same useless character as ever. Why even put that line in the game? It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in a story. If you don't want to explore Tails losing it, then you shouldn't even said that he was. This is what I meant by the writers writing something and then cowering when they actually have to execute what they have planned. Another example of this is when we find out that Sonic has been kept alive to be tortured. Now this is a pretty bold move. Even if I was writing the story of Sonic, I would never bring torture into the picture. But that's okay. The writers made a commitment to a plot detail. Let's see them follow through with it. Wait a second, Sonic is just fine in a cell with nothing wrong? Sega, again, why even have this line in the game if it has zero significance? Nothing. Sonic being captured had no effect on the story besides being another level for the game. Now I know they weren't going to make Sonic look like he's been tortured, that's just stupid, it's a kid's game, but they could have at least still given Sonic a story arc that involves torture. By the way, this isn't the only thing that Sega backed out of after making a commitment. We were promised boss fights for Chaos and Shadow, but we got nothing, which is the second criticism I want to bring up. Sega is just lying to us at this point. This game set up so much that was just all lies. There was no Chaos fight, it was a cutscene to show classic Sonic return just so you can be reminded that Mario Odyssey embarrassed us as Sonic fans back in 2017. Also, we didn't even get to fight Shadow, that was also a haha funny jokes on you scheme. These boss fights were important. When it comes to story, I can just brush it aside and say story doesn't make a Sonic game bad. However, when it comes to boss fights, there is no excuse for this. This game was blatant false advertising. This was not created by the same team who created Sonic Generations Sonic Colors. That was also a prank by Sega. In fact, this whole game was just a prank. You just fell for the most elaborate and dehumanizing prank in human civilization's history. This entire game was a joke, except I'm failing to see where the punchline in all this is. For some reason, Sega decided to add some out-of-place new additions to this game. So the first thing to talk about is the new lighting engine. After all, it took them 3 years to develop this lighting engine. It has to be impressive, right? Sorry, but I'm not impressed by this lighting engine. Not only not being impressed, I also think it looks worse than the previous games. I don't know exactly how to describe it. Everything looks too bright and weird. Call me crazy, but Sonic Generations on PC looks 10 times better than Sonic Forces on PC. And that is without graphical enhancement mods. I'm sorry, but it seriously took you 3 years to develop this? Sega, if you spent that time actually making the game instead of making it in the last year of development, we could have actually had one of the best Sonic games ever made. Another issue is Sonic himself. If you're a consistent viewer of my channel, you know that I'm very passionate about Sonic's appearance. They made his quill shorter and his shade of blue lighter. The lighter shade of blue almost resembles classic Sonic's blue. We saw classic Sonic slowly evolve into modern Sonic's design that we see today, so why would Sega completely change this? It makes zero sense, and not a lot of people appreciated it. Speaking of something new that not a lot of people appreciated is the new level cutscenes. You'll find yourself running through a level only to hit a cutscene that is a timed event where you have to press A at precise moments for the maximum score. I haven't seen much support for this feature. I have seen a lot of criticism of it though, and to be fair, I don't hate these cutscenes. It does make the levels feel more dynamic. It's just really annoying when you're trying to speedrun a level. I think Sega should prevent cutscenes like this because it hinders with one of the biggest reasons why Sonic Generations Unleashing Colors has so much replayability. We should be able to speedrun a level and not worry about little annoyances like this. Anyways, after all that, it's time to talk about the soundtrack. Together we can show the world what we can do. You are next to me and I'm next to you. I know there's a lot of people who like the Sonic Forces soundtrack, but I don't. So this part of the video will strictly be opinion based, so listen to this knowing that your opinion may be different. Anyways, the soundtrack has some notable tracks like Luminous Forest and Fist Bump, but that's where the list ends for me. The rest of the tracks are a solid meh for me. I miss the older soundtracks that were from Sonic Lost World and the games before that. I guess I'm just not a big fan of the electronic remixy music that Sonic Forces has to offer. If the soundtrack style stays for future games, it won't be too big of an issue, but I won't be a fan of it. However, one part of this soundtrack needs the boot right away. Classic Sonic soundtrack is so terrible and it's honestly one of the worst video game soundtracks I've ever heard. The soundtracks are so out of place for the levels that it's in, and they have the most annoying noises to me. Like, stop, please, no more. I'll take the modern Sonic Forces soundtrack over that any day. In conclusion, I think the soundtrack is mediocre at best, and I think Sega should return to the older soundtrack from the older games. Modern Sonic is the best part of this game, but it's still terrible. The modern Sonic gameplay consists of modern Sonic running down a linear path while platforming, killing enemies, and trying to reach the end of the stage in the shortest amount of time. You can use the boost to kill enemies and collect rings if you wish to get a higher score. Collectively, at the end of the level, you'll be graded on the amount of enemies you killed, how many rings you collected, the amount of tricks you performed, and of course, how fast you completed the level. As you may know, this boosting formula has been used in previous games. The boosting formula in those games captured the feeling of speed very well. Dare I say, it even makes you feel like Sonic. The boosting games had a very good level design. You always had to be on your toes because something was always happening. You had to be ready for the quick time events that were going to take place. These quick time events could consist of anything like sliding or just knowing when to jump. This is what Sonic Forces fails at. The only quick time events that you'll run into is switching rails, and trust me, that's all you'll be doing for 90% of this game. I mean, I understand that you guys had a rocky history with the rail grinding, but this is just overboard. Also, unlike the previous boosting titles, Sonic Forces, instead of having you dodge, jump, and platform with obstacles in your way, they just have you run in a straight line. If you aren't rail grinding, you're running through crowds of enemies with zero effort needed. What makes the sections even worse is that you don't even do the turning, the game does that for you. You can't be trusted to move the left analog stick all by yourself. Now get back here and finish this Happy Meal, you spoiled piece of shit. Why don't you just make me a sandwich and do my taxes while you're at it? Speaking of turning, drifting was completely removed from the game because why not? Sega knew when making this game that it was completely inferior to the previous boosting title that was released in 2011. When you're creating the next installment for a game, You should be trying your hardest to make it better than the previous. So tell me why it's a great idea to take away a part of the previous game's mechanics that nobody complained about. Sega, you dumb. Another issue with this game is how short the levels are. When completing a boosting level for the first time, it should take you 3 to 5 minutes. When a casual experienced player completes a boosting level, it should take you around 1 to 3 minutes. In Sonic Forces, however, these games are done 2 minutes, baby. That's right, 2 minutes, baby. Gotta go fast. Something that actually makes my blood boil is the critics for this game. The critics gave this game an average score. How does that even happen? This game is worse than Sonic 06. Yes, the game that everyone hates. In Sonic Forces, there is no level design. You're holding X while running down a linear path and there is nothing that can stop you. You aren't playing a game, the game is playing you. In Sonic 06, you need to have a lot more skill to be successful. You can also turn and control the character that you're playing, so it's already at an advantage right there. Sonic 06 forces you to get better at the game if you want to beat it. In Sonic Forces, you just have to manage to keep yourself awake while holding the X button. It still boggles my mind that this game got a higher score than Sonic 06. Both of these games are objectively bad. Give them both bad scores. However, I gotta give credit where credit is due. The 2D sections of this game are very well done. The platforming, enemy placements, and the trap placements are almost perfect at times. My favorite example is the beginning of Luminous Forest. You have multiple paths in this 2D section with some challenging platforming. It has all the high risk, high reward that should be in a modern Sonic level design. Of course, there's one thing dragging it down, and that is the slippery controls. However, it's bearable with modern Sonic because you have the boost to help with that. Sega, you did so good on the modern Sonic's 2D sections, but why is the rest of the game so bad? Anyways, my opinion on the modern Sonic gameplay is that it's a dumpster fire. Oh boy, where do I even start? This is easily the worst part of the game. In classic Sonic's gameplay, it plays the same classic Sonic from Sonic Generations, but they somehow managed to make it worse. Classic Sonic's gameplay puts you in a 2D level design. Instead of boost, you have the spin dash and the drop dash. You can raise your score by killing enemies and collecting rings. By the end of the level, you'll be graded on how much rings and score that you have. Well, remember how I said modern Sonic's 2D gameplay was awesome? Well, throw that knowledge completely out the window because you'll find none of that here with classic Sonic. You see, with modern Sonic, you can just boost, jump, or homing attack through all the platforming that was pretty much annoying to you. With classic Sonic, that is not an option, sadly. So you actually have to participate in the slippery platforming now. Classic Sonic is so slippery, and you have to be a madman to have the patience to master his jumps. Thankfully, you won't have an issue with having to jump much with classic Sonic, until you get to the side-scroller stage. You might be thinking that a side-scroller stage is already bad from the name. I actually don't hate side-scrollers. They are fine because it raises the stakes for the level that you're playing in. However, there is one wrong thing with this side-scroller. Since the controls are so slippery, you'll be overshooting, undershooting, shooting your monitor. This level's all over the place, and it's your punishment for buying this terrible game. I'm sorry, but nobody deserves this. Sega, why? Who did this to you? Who hurt you? The Rookie is very similar to modern Sonic's gameplay. Not much is different. With the Rookie, you can customize how he looks and what accessories he's wearing. I'm not huge about that, but it's a great idea in theory. After all, the community loves OCs. Anyways, in the Rookie's gameplay, you run through a level in the fastest amount of time while collecting rings and killing enemies. With the Rookie, you have a grappling hook that is only used for making automated sections, and a slower replacement for the homing attack. You are also given a Wispin, which allows you to kill enemies around you. There are many different types of Wispin, and depending on what you choose, it could make life just easier for you, or it could open up new paths in the level design. I actually like this idea. It allows a lot more replayability and gives more freedom on what way you want to play the game. Actually, this idea is genius. Sadly, it's overshadowed by just being a Sonic clone without a boost. Also, the amount of automation that is used here is ridiculous and makes the grappling hook look so pointless for even being included. They included the grappling hook in the CGI trailers for us to only use it for automation? That is the biggest letdown that this character has. Something else that's wrong with the Rookie's gameplay is that he has these double boost moments with modern Sonic that last a while, and they're only here to make the level take longer. It's like they had to make the levels longer because they weren't ready to release the game, which is actually what happened. More on that later. The Rookie looks like a lot of missed potential. There could have been something great with this. I love the idea of changing the different paths you could take as well as customizing your own character. Why did you do this, Sega? This character had so much potential, and you just drove it right into the ground. So in conclusion, the Rookie's gameplay is better than classic Sonic's gameplay, but it's worse than modern Sonic's gameplay. Shadow's gameplay is the best part about this game. The only reason why I say he's the best and modern Sonic is also the best is because he controls the exact same way as modern Sonic, except they actually sort of attempted at actually making a good level design. It's still not as good as Sonic Unleashed level design or Sonic Generations level design, but it's still really good. The way I would describe it as is Sonic Colors level design except without the wisps. It has somewhat difficult platforming with more obstacles that could hurt you in your way. In these levels, you have more to do than just hold X, and that is why it's not half bad. Sega, you knew how to make a good level design, and you knew how to actually give us a hard mode that was actually worth something in this game. Why do you wait to put all this effort into the DLC levels that didn't even need to come out at launch? You could have focused that development time on giving Shadow and Chaos actual boss fights, or maybe even focus that time on giving this level design to a hard mode of the game. Sega, I will never understand you. It's still nice to see Sega reuse Shadow the Hedgehog, because there's a large catalog of characters that we've not been able to play as. Thank you Sonic Team for putting this in the game, although I wish you spent this effort elsewhere. However, now it's time to talk about the impact that this game had on this series. Back before when this game came out, the amount of hype that the fanbase had was crazy. We had just got done with the Sonic Boom shenanigans, and we're finally back to where we belong, with the ambitious and insane modern Sonic titles that we were used to. I mean, we absolutely had everything. This game looked like it was gonna go down in history for being such an ambitious and overwhelming game. We had Shadow, Chaos, Metal Sonic, Zavok, and the mysterious villain that is Infinite. Everything was so overwhelming, it's like they threw every awesome idea into one game, and that was supposed to be our game. But when this game got released, we got the mediocre at best game, but in my opinion, is an absolutely terrible Sonic game. But even worse than that, is that Sega lied to us about everything. There was no Chaos or Shadow boss fight. The team who made Sonic Colors and Sonic Generations did not make this game. It's crazy how many lies were put into the advertising of this game. It's also kinda sad. As you may know, this game was made in under a year. The lighting engine was being created for 3 years. From that information, it looks like Sonic Team isn't the one to blame. It looks like we should be pointing the pitchforks at Sega for releasing a game too early. Sega has the power over release dates, and they are the cause of why we had issues like Sonic 06 in the past. Maybe Sonic Team was just as ambitious as we were for the game. What if they really did have a lot planned for this game? I like to believe that Sonic Team had a lot more planned for this game. I like to believe that Sonic Team was just as passionate about this blue hedgehog as we were. Maybe in a separate reality where Sonic Forces had more time, we could have had a game with better level design that closely resembled Sonic Generations and Sonic Unleashed. Maybe we could have a custom character that was more fleshed out with more purpose for the gadgets that he possesses. Maybe we could have had awesome boss fights with Shadow and Chaos. Except all we can wonder about is what this game could have been. However, we do know what this game is, and this game is an undercooked, poor excuse of a game that controls the main character for you while telling a cowardly story and making the weakest level design in the entire series with an abundance of lies and deception. This game is worse than Sonic 06, and it doesn't challenge you whatsoever. That is my opinion about Sonic Forces. I really hope you guys liked the video. I worked really hard on this video and I had it planned for a while and I had to write a really long script for this video. And if you guys want to talk to me, you can join the server down below. We have some memes, we talk about Sonic a lot there, you can find me a lot there, you can talk to me. You can even give me ideas for videos there. Or maybe just drop videos down in the comments below. Or just Drop whatever you want to let me know in the comments down below. I read all comments. I try to respond to most comments. Sometimes I don't respond to comments. Just know I'm reading all comments. I mainly wanted to make this video because I noticed that my previous video essays were they were pretty bad. I wanted to start with Sonic Forces to let everyone know my opinion of the game, and as well as kind of like a proof of concept that I can make good video essays. And I also needed to know what to improve on because I plan on remaking the Sonic Unleashed video that I made a while back, because in my opinion, that was one of my worst videos ever made. I really do not like that video, and I want to remake it because I missed a lot of things I did not say in that video. That video will be coming soon. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Love you guys. Adios.